Hi guys, welcome. Another episode of Creators Barn Talking Music, and today I've got a very special guest, and this is Sarah Higgins, and Sarah is a professional bass player by trade, and I'm luckily enough I've managed to get her when she's free, and she's going to come in and we're going to talk a little bit about her experiences working in the industry, and just her general overview and knowledge of what she's been doing as a professional performer. So hi Sarah.
Hi Derek, thanks for inviting me along.
No, he was really good, and we've been talking on and off, I think, about 6 months.
About getting this pinned in on it.
Trying to get, yeah. And then it was, and then one day he was, bang it, okay, I'm free, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So I know we've had a chat beforehand, and I know that we've been talking a little bit. I'm interested in how you got started as a bass player. So I don't know if you want to start there. And I know that, especially over the last, 12 to 18 months, you've been through some quite challenging times, and you're now coming out of that and going into another chapter, if you like, of your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you want to go back, how did you get?
How did it start?
Yeah.
So I've been playing bass for 23 long years. I started when I was 12.
Wow.
So I started playing in 2002, and it's quite a key year because that's the year that, By the Way, came out, the album by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that really was my starting point. The second I heard the bass line to the title track of the album, that's when I knew I wanted to do that. I listened and I was like, wow, I want to play that. I want to learn to play bass. I want to play that bass line, just like that guy, just like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that really was the big sort of inspiration of me that got me into it. And that summer, I remember selling my Nokia 3310 phone and I bought a piece of firewood out of the bargain pages. And that was my first bass. It was this big, clunky, heavy Columbus bass guitar.
Right.
That years and years and years later, I was dissecting it and taking it apart and teaching myself how to do intonation changes and look after my own setup, really sort of replacing parts in it and doing all the sort of work on it. But yeah, that was my first bass that later became sort of a Frankenstein remodel.
Have you still got it?
No. And I say firewood because I'm pretty sure, no, it didn't actually. It nearly went on the bonfire one year. Nearly, but it didn't. I ended up reselling it actually. And I think I made a good profit on it. I think I literally bought it for about £60 on the bargain pages. And I think I sold it on eBay for about 200. So
it's not bad.
Good. I will resell it.
Anybody watching this will be on the phone, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. If you have my Columbus bass, I would like it back.
So what did you move on to? What was the progression?
So, that Christmas, I think I played that Columbus for about 6 months and kind of proved that I want to do this seriously. And I took a stroll to TR Music.
Yeah.
And then the lovely fellas there. And I bought my first Yamaha. Yamaha was my first proper new bass and a little Behringer practice amp.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really took off. And I remember that Christmas I got a Red Hot Chili Peppers, playthrough songbook that I still have to this day and still use it as a point of reference. So I got that for Christmas, and I spent all morning when I think it was Christmas 2002. I just spent all morning going through that Red Hot Chili Peppers tab book, playing on my new Yamaha bass. It was great, yeah. So that really was my introduction to bass playing, really, was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that's something that has followed my career the entire way.
So you say you were 12?
I was 12.
You started. So when did you do your first gig?
13.
Oh, really?
I played, I was in 2 bands, pretty much. I got playing very, very quickly to a very high level. And upon reflection now, I put it back that I put that down to the fact that I can touch type.
Mm-hmm.
I learned to touch type from the age of 8. So by the time I started playing, I was touch typing to about 80 words per minute, and I'd got the finger dexterity down. So when I picked up a bass, it was very, very easy to go from that to that. So maybe it helped. Maybe I'm just naturally talented. I don't know. But I found it was very easy to get going on the bass, and I don't know whether there was a link in that. But
possibly, yeah.
Potentially, yeah. I already had the finger dexterity. So, what was the question?
After
My
you
first
went
gig. My first gig.
Yeah, so you're 13.
That's how this
So you've
conversation's gonna go.
you've moved on from touch typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had a piece of firewood. You've learned a bit. First band, covers or originals.
So there was 2 bands that I was in. I first started playing in an indie rock band called Airplay.
Mm-hmm.
We did actually get some airplay. We were featured on Kerrang at one point. They did like an unsigned bands kind of feature. So yeah, we Airplay did actually get a little bit of airplay, but that was my first band. And we had a song called Harmonicas Aren't Just for Country that didn't actually have any harmonica in. Sorry to disappoint. But we were very much a bit of a Primal Scream, Radiohead sort of esque alternative, that kind of stuff. So I did my first gig in 2003 at the Jug of Ale.
Okay.
Yeah. That's no longer there, if you remember the Jug of Ale.
No, I don't. I was about to say, where's that?
Over in Moseley it was.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It was quite a famous music pub that is no more.
Yeah. There's a couple of places in Moseley.
Yeah, we were due to play there a couple of years ago. Is it the Dark
Horse? Yeah.
I was due to play at the Dark Horse, but I was involved in a really serious car crash and the gig never happened.
Right, okay.
On the way to a gig.
I didn't know about the car.
Flipped, yeah. Yeah,
I know we spoke about all the other things.
Nearly died on the way to a show once, yeah.
Right. Well, that's commitment.
Call that commitment. And literally, I got out of the car and I stood up and I checked my bass was okay, gave it a big hug and I said, right, are we going to go do the show then?
And it didn't.
Oh, no.
No.
Had to go to the ambulance instead of the show.
Yeah.
But that's the adrenaline I had, I was like, yeah, we're still going to do the show. No, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, that happened on the way to a gig.
Who else was in the car with you?
The guitarist of the band I was in.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the
Was
driver.
he all right?
Yeah, we both got out unharmed. I think he had some glass in his hand and we were both very shaken. But it was our right of way going over an island and a car just hit just narrowly behind my passenger door. I think because of the weight of the gear, the car flipped and span and crashed into a curb. And it was have you ever been on that ride Air at Alton Towers?
No.
It literally sends you upside down, and that's how we were, like skidding on the back of this car. Had to like unbuckle, hop down.
Yeah. No, I've been upside down in the car. Yeah, I know. It's not nice.
Yeah.
No.
I literally thought I was going to die. Like, this is how I die kind of moment. But
yeah. Did everything go slow motion?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, down with me. Everything went slow motion and all the glass exploded.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Our glass stayed intact.
No,
were you on the way to a show?
No, I was on the way back.
Wow.
Back from a gig, but I wasn't playing. I'd been to see someone.
Were you driving?
Yeah. Not paying attention. Young. I was very young.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a conversation I didn't think we were going to get into. But but you learn. And it really did teach me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the car was, absolutely right off. Yeah.
Yeah, as was ours. Yeah.
I won't go into the details of it, but it was bad.
It's not good, is it? No, I mean, it shocked me to my core, that did, and the driver fled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely person.
I know, right? Yeah, young lad, but...
So, going back onto music, okay, because if you're going to be talking about cars and bikes and stuff, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Right, but so we're going back onto music. That was your first band, and then, so what was you went into music education?
I did, yeah. So I had private bass tuition pretty much from the get-go, and I studied... Before I went to college, I probably had about 2 or 3 different private one-to-one bass teachers. And I did music GCSE at school. Mm-hmm. So I went to Aldridge School, which had like a music scholarship department. I wasn't a scholar, but they had, because it was mainly like a classical kind of focus, but they had a really good music department. So I used to take my bass with me to school and jam out in the music hall at lunch. And... a couple of the teachers used to come and jam with me as well. I remember playing Led Zeppelin with one of the deputy heads at lunch break and stuff like that. Yeah, and we did a couple of like Battle of the Bands and stuff in school. So, yeah, I used to play a lot.
So when did so for the music education, were you gigging all the way through that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I've been gigging from the get-go.
Yeah.
Been gigging from the get-go, yeah.
Okay. And then, I mean, I don't know how much of this you want to fill in, but I know you ended up in one of the, UK's biggest Red Hot Chili Peppers bands.
Yeah. So in 2019, just pre-COVID, I started that with the guitarist.
Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers UK. And yeah, so I did that band for 5 years, and I've also gigged with quite a few other Red Hot Chili Peppers tributes as well across the country. So I've done a lot of work with Dave Clark from the really Hot Chili Peppers. They are the longest running Chili's tributes, and I think they've been going since 1998. So Dave was one of my first bass teachers. Yeah. So I've known Dave since I was a little kid. So Dave's took me under his wing a lot, and he's offered me a bit of debt work with them as well. Red Hot Chili Peppers UK were formed in 2019. Yeah. Yeah, just before lockdown.
So how many? Oh, great timing.
I know, right?
How many gigs did you do with them? Because you were playing some big places.
Yeah. So how many gigs did we do? 50 maybe. Yeah. Over the 5 years I was in the band. It could have been more, because before lockdown we had quite a few gigs. We were just getting started, but then obviously our diary got wiped, and I just had my first child. So I was on mat leave from my job, and I spent my whole mat leave in lockdown with my daughter, just booking gigs. Just sat with my baby asleep, booking gigs. So by the time we'd sort of come out of lockdown and things were getting going, the events, I know the event sector was the last thing to get running after everything, really. So I'd set us up loads and loads of gigs, and I'd managed to get us on to the UK Tribute Festival circuit as well. Yeah. Their organizer, Jules, won't forget me, because I badgered him that much that he said, right, fine, you're on the lineup, just leave me alone, basically. Stop messaging me, you're on the show.
Well, if it works, it works.
So, we played the one in Wolverhampton, WB1, I think, is it? Yeah, we played that, and a few others all throughout the country. So I basically just spent a year just networking, plugging the band, and booking a load of shows, really. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what happened with your gear, so to speak? Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, we can do. So I think it was September last year, so about 8-9 months ago.
Was that long ago?
It was, yeah. Oh, right, okay. September the 7th. I had a really nasty attack on my entire touring bass guitar rig. Yeah. Which was maliciously just sabotaged and smashed up. Yeah.
So this was your basses, your amplification,
it was my touring
everything.
Yeah. It was my whole. So I've got other basses, but this was everything I used to take on the road with me for shows, which was stored. So it was 2 basses, pedal board, 2 cabs, and an amp head, and all my cables basically was just destroyed, which resulted in me being set back and put out of work for a good while. I think September I did my first show in January, so it's good sort of 4 or 5 months it set me back for. Yeah. But new year, new start. I'm starting to get back out there now.
So I know, because we did speak about it, and I know that time was really challenging.
Yeah, it was horrendous. And it really did have a bad effect on my mental health, because everything I'd worked hard to achieve and compile in my musical instruments. My Lackland, I'd had that for 10 years, and I'd done thousands of shows. I'd done 3 performance runs with the Royal Shakespeare Company on it. Performed in front of Sir Patrick Stewart with that bass, and loads of other regular attendees at the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I'd done I gigged every single Chili show with that. I'd done loads of tours with it, loads of session recordings with it. That was my bass, and that was a complete write-off.
And you can't replace them. You can replace them, but it's not the same.
Yeah, Lackland actually, bless them, they shipped me out an exact replica with a very generous artist discount. Okay. So it's an identical replica, but it's not my bass. No. But they were very, very kind to me. Yeah. Very kind to me.
That's really unusual. Yeah. So that's lovely. That's nice.
They're good guys in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay.
Straight from the manufacturers. They were lovely, lovely guys. I did well at replacing everything. I was very honest and open. I thought for a couple of days after it happened, and I was in shock. And I just thought, I'm going to go public with what's happened about this because, and then I started up a fundraiser, and I managed to raise, for the generosity of so many kind people, half of the money.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember seeing the slowly creeping up, and people were so supportive.
Yeah.
So it was like, if anybody is watching it, it's a massive shout out for those people.
Yeah,
I think.
thank you. It's from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, because without the generous donations, I wouldn't have been able to have bounced back so quickly.
Yeah, did seeing that level of support, did that help?
It was overwhelming. It really was, and it just kind of, it made me feel like just valued by so many people.
Yeah.
Because people from right back from the start of my career to to present day were donating to me, friends, family, and professional contacts alike. Gigs, venues I'd worked with, people I'd been in bands with 10 years ago. Like it really was heartwarming, and it's nice that actually I've got an opportunity now to thank everybody in a way, just by having this chat with you,
Yeah.
It was lovely, and it made me feel valued. Like I mattered. The work I'd done with these people mattered, and they saw that how much it set me back, and how much it had impacted me. But it still is a process. Yeah, having such it's like a bereavement, because not only was all of my gear, my sentimental performance gear, very very customized, bespoke gear that I'd obviously added to over a number of years. But I lost out on the band that I started as a result of that, through being unable to turn up to a show that we had the next day after it happened. And I got estranged from that project as a result of what happened to my musical instruments. So, that was a double.
Another kick.
Yeah, double kick. Which was a shame, but onwards and upwards. And I'm now working with several other Red Hot Chili Peppers tribute bands as a dep, which is really nice. So
do you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers Experience I've worked with. The Red Not Really Chili Peppers. And there's a couple of others as well, but I'm going to get tongue-tied over the names.
Okay, don't worry. It's fine.
But it's really nice to obviously get to utilise my flea skills and keep that going, because as I said, right from the start of my career, that's been
the main inspiration. The thing as well, though, if you have got a list of names and whatnot, these can all go into the description for the video, so you can just drop a tag in there. It's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anybody you're working with, you want to tag them.
Send links, and I'm just starting up a new sort of function and tribute band as well, called Off the Record. So that's kind of launching. We're just auditioning a drummer at the moment, but we've got all the other band members, keys, guitar, vocals, myself. Yeah, so that's going to be launched this year. It's kind of 50-50. It's kind of, the idea is to do a bit of an MTV Unplugged setup, and then do an electric set too. So just to kind of have that contrast, really. So just to kind of extend the repertoire that we can play. Okay. And the kind of dynamic settings as well. So we can kind of pitch to a bigger audience.
Yeah. If you're looking at a small portable setup, I'll have a chat. We'll have a chat afterwards, because we've got some cracking stage box.
Yeah,
it's big, control off a pad. It's fantastic. So we'll have a chat. Not now.
Yeah,
we'll have a chat after about it. Yeah, it'll be really good.
Lovely.
But so one thing I do want to touch on, I do, because we sometimes don't. So you're still busy. You're still playing. How are you managing to balance keeping practicing and family, because you've got young children?
Oh yes.
So what's the and you work?
Children.
So you work. You've got kids, and you're still trying to get your practice time in. Yeah. And we touched on this with another guest. The podcast that just went up with Ash, and because he's just become a dad, and he was talking about being time rich when you were younger, and I said, but now, with all the responsibility. So for instance, how do you then? So your mum got 2 young kids, and you're still trying to play and get out there. So how are you balancing that?
Yeah, it's tough. I can't lie. I mean, you don't know what you did with your time before you had kids. That's for sure. Yeah, you take it for granted. Being bored. Oh, I would love to be bored again.
No chance.
Being bored is a privilege. Yeah. So just effective time management, really.
Yeah.
When the kids are in bed, that's my time. or when my youngest is still naps and my daughter goes to nursery. You know, and I've only just gone back to work after mat leave. So, yeah, I used a lot of my mat leave to kind of get back into playing and things like that. But I try and play most days.
Yeah.
And keep on top of learning songs and everything. I write stuff down. I think that helps because I'm still breastfeeding my son, so I don't sleep a lot always. And
Right.
you know, the biggest thing I find is the memory, the reinforcement of learning new songs.
Yeah.
So I'm just writing everything down and having like a reference, you know, like iPads and rehearsals and stuff like that until I get on stage and things like that. But yeah, just organisation and time and just keeping on top of stuff.
Are you managing to write any of your own stuff in between doing all of this?
So I did actually, when I was at my undergrad for my final project, I did a solo bass EP called, I think it was called Tapping Into the Basics.
Okay.
Which was a bit of a pun because it was all like bass tapping. So I haven't actually done a lot of bass composition work for a good 10 years or so. And I did a lot of work with a friend who was a songwriter named Susie. Susie Who is her name. She's from Warsaw. And I played on a couple of her EPs. So that's the last time I kind of worked with a songwriter. And I think the last album was about 2-3 years ago. It's the last time I ever recorded that.
But is that on your radar? Is that something you want to get back into?
Potentially, yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I like all this kind of solo bass sort of stuff.
Who's your favourite artist, bass player,
Lawson.
other than Flea?
Steve Lawson. I'll give him a big shout out. Lovely Steve, who now lives in Birmingham. But yeah, he was my kind of inspiration to getting into the solo bass kind of world. Right. So yeah, he's a good friend now. Yeah.
Okay. Who would you recommend bass players that are learning now? Who would you say go and listen to these people? Could you give like a top 5?
Top 5 bass players.
I know I've been horrible here.
Les Claypool.
Great.
Yeah, Les Claypool. Square Pusher.
Okay.
Yeah. Flea. We've already obviously talked him to death. Yeah. Steve Lawson. He's the pioneer in the bass world. And who can I pick for number 5? There's so many good people. Michael Manring. Yeah. He's a quirky one. He does a lot of
what, quirkier than Les?
In a different way. He does a lot with like detuners.
Right. Okay.
And sort of manipulating the instrument and things like that. But there's so many. I should give you a list of 50, not 5.
Yeah.
There's so many different bass players who do so many different things.
It's one of the things I've done with the students is, I haven't finished it yet. I've done a list of, so you got vocalists, guitarists, bass players, drummers, percussion, keys, and all that, and doing a list and saying, if you don't listen to anything, go and check these out. But instead of it being 5 or 6, it's turned into 50 of each.
Of course.
And it's just ongoing because the guys I'm working with are a bit older than me and they're sort of chucking names in and that list is forever going. So now, at the moment, I'm talking to everybody just to find out and say, who would you put on the list? Who's there? Who have I missed off? So I might get you to go, when you go away, I might get you to come up with a list of yours.
A longer list.
And I'll put them in there.
I will do. It takes me back to an assignment I did for my masters, actually, where I comprised like a bit of a set list showcasing different styles of bass. So I did like a section on slap. So I think I focused a lot on Mark King and Larry Graham.
Yeah.
The pioneers of Larry Graham allegedly started slap. And obviously Mark King is big player of slap. I still to this day don't know how he managed to do it and sing and front the band, Level 42.
Yeah, no.
But very impressive. I actually met Mark King as well when I was a kid. I say a kid. I was about 12, 13 and I was front row at his show at Symphony Hall and he came and spoke to me and signed my programme. That was really cool.
You still got it?
Hey?
You still got it?
Yes, of course I still got it, yeah. Might be worth some money at some point.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah, he's amazing. So I focus a lot on that. And then I did like a section on like tapping, a section on pick playing, a section on... and then I did like a a performance where I demonstrated all the different styles. So I've still got that playlist, so I'll go through that for you.
Yeah.
And
No, that'd be really good.
apart.
Yeah, because it literally just, I'm mentioning names, and of course, there was someone I used to work with, and they said the problem with doing this kind of a thing, the teaching job, is that you get older and the kids stay the same age. Because every year the new lot come in and it's another group of 16, but you're that 1 year older. Once you've done that for 10 years, you're like going, oh dear, they don't know anybody. They don't know any of the names. And I mentioned this before with Steve Cooper, that there seem to be the guys that come in that listen to rock, more so than anything else, seem to have more of a history behind them.
Of course, yeah,
So,
more of that knowledge.
Like you mentioned Black Sabbath, they know who Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, that kind of thing, even though these bands they're not running, apart from obviously the big one going on in Villa Park soon.
Of course, that's amazing, isn't it?
Did you get tickets for that?
I don't.
No, I didn't.
Do you?
Nope.
No.
No.
It's Live Nation are coordinating it, aren't they? And I think Tool are even there, which I can't believe it. Tool are going to make an appearance. I'm a big Tool fan.
Yeah, I think I did after though. I think Guns N' Roses, Tool, I can't remember who else.
Quite a lot of metal bands on Metallica.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've just announced a world tour.
Of course. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. But I've got a bet going with someone.
Okay.
That the last minute they'll do pay-per-view.
Okay.
I can't see them turning down the revenue for that.
Yeah, it's like that Foo Fighters concert after Taylor Hawkins passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got recorded, didn't it? I don't think it was live. Was it live streamed? It may have been.
I thought it was live.
Yeah, it could have been. I was actually there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was one of the
Villa Park.
It was in
Or was it London?
Wembley.
Yeah.
Was it Wembley. Yeah, so I managed to get tickets, but yeah, I think it was live stream. I know you can rewatch it.
Yeah, because the gig that got cancelled after you was the one at Villa Park, and it got postponed a year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's probably what I thought. Villa. Don't
yeah,
ask.
it did, didn't it? Yeah, and everybody who had tickets, I think, was given priority to booking Wembley, but I just got lucky on the day. Literally, I rang up at 9 o'clock and I got straight through. I was like, I'll have two, please.
I know some people that they won't tell me how much they've paid for the Black Sabbath tickets.
Oh,
They
yeah, I
won't
can
tell
imagine.
me. But people say, it's a ridiculous amount of money. Not really. Not when you look at who's going to be playing. If you had to go and see them individually.
And today's ticket prices.
Exactly, yeah. And it's one of the things that, again, I don't want to go off on one too much, but people go, I'm not paying that to go and see a band. You go, but it's not just the band. It's the road, it's the tech, the transport, the case. You're paying for everything, so. And
you're paying for the staff, you're paying for the venue hire, you're paying for the cleaners, you're paying for...
One of the very first episodes of this, we talked about the iceberg theory, which is this, you just see the tip, you don't see all the work
everything
underneath.
at the bottom,
and it's the same thing. And this is when, like, if I can, as much as possible, I go and try and see local bands. Just pay it on the door, just turn up, just go and see them. Yeah. So, because these people moaning, it's £7 to go and see a band.
That's nothing.
Pint of Guinness now.
That's your admin fee for these bigger gigs. That's your booking fee.
Exactly. So, So we've talked about, you've talked about what you do. You're getting into playing your firewood bass. That's going to stick with you. The Columbus, wasn't it?
Columbus, yeah.
Okay. The Yamaha.
Yeah, that was my second bass.
Yeah. Have you ever tried Ibanez?
I have. Yeah, I used to own a 5-string Ibanez BTB series. I had that for a while and sold it. My biggest regret, though, is selling a 6-string Fernandez. Oh, it was gorgeous. Okay. Maple neck, beautiful purple body with gold, like chrome work on it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I sold it. Why did I do that? Yeah, I regret it to this day, and I keep looking on eBay just in case it ever comes back.
No, I've done that with a couple of guitars.
My biggest regret.
The first guitar I ever had, that was an Ibanez. A fabulous guy that worked in a music shop put me onto this instrument. His name's Simon Bradley, and he went on to become a journalist, and he's a great player as well. And but I sold that and regretted it ever since. And the only main one, and if she's watching this, because she's gone into filmmaking now, he's an ex-student, and it was a blue Fender Strat Ultra.
Oh.
And I sold it because I was like, I'm not using it.
You'll never get it back.
No way. I think I'd literally have to steal it from her. I don't think I'd ever get it back. So, but other than that, it's only been a couple. But it's funny, isn't it? When you at the time you think it's the right thing to do, and then afterwards you go, I should never have done that.
Really like that.
Yeah. So what's your gear now then?
I mainly play the Lackland DerekJohn Skyline. That's been my main bass for a long time. I've got a lovely Fender Dimension 5, which I bought because I saw Yolanda Charles play at the Tower of Song in Birmingham at one of Birmingham Bass Nights, which was run by Steve Lawson. So I went to see Yo there and I saw her play. I think she was endorsed with the bass at the time, but it's fantastic. It was essentially Fender's version of a Music Man, so really kind of a funk bass designed for slapping with the kind of pickup at the bottom. But the Fender Dimension is beautiful. So I've got a 5-string Fender Dimension with an unlacquered maple neck. Amazing. I can't stand lacquered necks, so
that's very nice. No, I hate lacquered necks. Yeah, I sold the Jackson because of that.
Because it had a lacquered neck. Yeah. Oh, awful things. Horrible. Anyway, so yeah, unlacquered Dimension. I've also got Music Man Stingray. I think every decent bass player needs to just have one. I have a Rickenbacker, but it doesn't suit me. I have a Rick, but it's lovely. It's great. But doesn't really reflect my playing style very much. But I've used it. For gigs. But yeah, and I think that's largely everything I've got at the moment. Okay. Yeah.
Do you know Dave Coursey?
I do know Dave Coursey. He used to teach me at Wolverhampton when I was doing my masters.
Yeah, because I've seen Dave at Christmas do. Yeah, and he's always.
He plays a wall, I think. He's got a wall.
Yeah,
with like a tree of life up the neck. I remember he used to.
He did have Stingray.
That. Yes, yeah.
And it was a long. I'm going back. It's a long.
He was changing his scratch plate.
As it?
Yeah.
Okay. No,
he played with another friend of mine in a Gene Genie Bowie tribute.
He's
recently.
in loads of bands.
Yeah. He does a lot of depth stuff.
Loads. He's absolutely. I worked with him for a while. You know, we did a tribute band a long time ago. I worked with him then, and he's a character. He's a good bloke. I like.
Yeah, he is a good guy.
Yeah, but I don't know where we're going with this. Oh, music gear. So you've got all your gear. What about amps?
So I play Tech Amp, who are now Etch. I think that's how you pronounce it. EICH. It's German, so if my pronunciation isn't right,
okay.
Etch.
It's all right. We're going to look it up.
Yeah, go look it up. Tell me how to say it. But they were Tech Amp, but they rebranded into Etch. So, funny story, when I was replacing all of my gear, I had to ship my amp head back to the manufacturer's Tech Amp, who are now Etch, and they had to replace the power amp for me, which was my decision because I like that setup. But in reflection, maybe I should have upgraded, but I can do. Now things are fully resolved.
Have you never gone down the thought of going down like the quad cortex, it's kind of like the effects units, that kind of thing, or is it always an amp?
Yeah, I mean, maybe one day I could look into that, but I like having my rig on stage, you know, and my pedal board up front. I suppose like the kind of quite classic setup, really.
Yeah.
But my rig now is solid state. I used to have Ampeg SVT series.
Yes. Yeah.
Pre-crate, so classic Ampeg, proper American Ampeg.
Yeah.
Again, regret selling that, but the reason why I did was because it was just so heavy. So now I've got a really lightweight rig that I can carry myself. Yeah. I think the old SVT 5 Pro head I had was about 20 kilograms. So waddling up the stairs with it again.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No, exactly. But yeah, that was a great sounding rig, but it just wasn't very practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I suppose I'm very educated in music, I suppose. I did music college. Went to South Birmingham College, which is now Southern City College, and I did my BTEC and my H&D there.
And you've taught as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I did, yes. I did BTEC, H&D at Southern City College, Birmingham, and then went to Derby to do my undergrad. Had a couple of years out, gigging and travelling, and then I went back to Wolvo to do my masters in music, which was fantastic, and it's so sad now that is no more.
Yeah.
That performance hub sat empty. You know, it's harrowing, really.
I don't know what they're doing. They said they're going to repurpose it, but what for? I don't know, because it was built for performing arts.
European Union funding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Waste. Total waste.
Yeah, because we both know people that have worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I spent 4 years of my life in that building.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was heartbroken when I found out that it was going. But you know, when I was there, because that was where I did my masters, and then I did my PGCE, and I was working as a graduate teaching assistant there in the department with many of our mutual friends and colleagues. They had such like the professional experience of the staff was just 10 to 9.
Yeah.
There, everybody just knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it so well. All the technicians, all the music staff, all the wider student support staff there. It was an excellent place, and it really is a crime that got axed. But it was a bigger political situation, and it was being hinted at when I was there. And I think it closed 2 or 3 or 4 years after I left. After I taught there for 2 years after I did my masters, and yeah, before I went on to teaching at another college. Yeah, it was really, really sad. So, yeah. So
I know the staff that were affected by it, and also students.
Yeah,
because I think they carried on running it with some part-time staff just to finish off the third years.
I think they did. Yeah,
I don't want to say too much, but it's shocking.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to name the people who have had to deal with that transition, because I can imagine it wasn't easy.
No.
But I know people who stayed there till the end. Yeah. And I know people who left at various points through the process.
Yeah. No. But what I want to kind of move towards the finish, I guess, really, is you've got these new projects. You're working with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, different tribute bands and whatever. You've got this project of your own you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. When's your next gig?
When's my next gig?
Yeah.
It's May now. I am with a Chili's tribute at the start of August.
Okay, where's that going to be at?
Oxford.
Yeah.
The exact details I'll have to get back to you with.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so what are you going to be doing between now and then? Just pushing this new project?
Yeah, rehearsing a lot, learning some new songs, because this Chili's tribute I haven't worked with before, and I think it's been 30 years since the release of One Hot Minute. So there's a big focus on that album within the set, which will be really, really fun.
That can't be right.
1995.
No way.
Yeah, so 30 years since One Hot Minute came out. So that's going to be the theme of that gig.
That's shocked me. I didn't do it. 30 years. Yeah. Good grief.
I've got something exciting coming up just after that, where I'm doing a dep for a Smashing Pumpkins tribute as well.
Really?
The Smashed In Pumpkins.
Okay.
I'm doing a festival with them throughout the summer. They've been really, really a big group of support for me throughout everything that's kind of unfolded over the last kind of 8-9 months. They've really had my back on the music circuit, and they've asked me to come and play with them, which is nice. So I'll be jamming out with them at Milton Keynes Festival in August. So that'll be good. So I'm working towards that as well.
So that's a huge crowd as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how many people are they expecting there? So they've done some big gigs there.
So I actually headlined that with the Chili's. That was one of my last gigs. We headlined that last August, the bank holiday. So yeah, they do have a lot. I think I don't want to say maybe 10,000 or something, maybe attendees. Yeah,
probably more.
Yeah.
Okay,
that'll be good fun.
Well, what I'll do is I'll get you to a list of bass players that you'd want to put into my list.
Yeah, I'll go through all my
if you've got
all my playlists,
dates, gigs coming up.
Yeah, we'll put them in.
They'll all go in there. So, are you happy to wrap things up there?
Yeah, that's great.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, I'm just going to do I just want to say thank you for coming in, mate, taking the time. And I know how busy you are, especially with the young kids and stuff. I know what it's like, but thank you again, Sarah. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you've got any comments or you want to leave any feedback for either myself or for Sarah, that would be great. Please go over, give her a like and a follow on her socials. All the details will be down in the description. And as always, if you can possibly like, share, comment on the video, it would really help out with getting new guests coming in. But once again, thank you, and I'll catch you next time.
Thanks so much, Derek.